These guys are the current UFC champions going into 2025, and I want to predict who will be UFC champion in each weight division by the end of 2025. To start things off, we're going to go with the Flyweight division, where the champion is Alexander Pantoja, and I think who's going to be holding that title by the end of 2025 is still the same person, Alexander Pantoja. I don't think anyone in that weight division is going to beat him. There's, rumblings, Figueiredo coming down. If Figueiredo comes down, I love him. He obviously beat Pantoja ages ago. Gave him a loss, I can't remember how long ago it was. I think it was 5 years ago, 2019, almost 6 years ago now. I think if Figgy came back down, the weight cut would be too much for him and he'd lose. I thought the weight cut was too much for him going into the last few fights against Moreno, and his chin took a bit of a toll on his cardio. So I feel like the same will play out in this fight, even though he does have the right style to beat Pantoja, and he has done it before. I just don't think... I feel like the weight cut would be the biggest issue for Figueiredo. There's also rumblings of maybe Cejudo. Again, I feel like the weight cut would be too big. I mean, he's too big. He's simply too big for 125. He wouldn't be able to make that weight, in my opinion. So, the weight cut again. Then who else do you really have? Royval. At the moment, there's a rumour going around that Manal Kape is fighting Brandon Royval. So, do I think that if Royval wins, he's going to beat Pantoja in a third fight, even though he's 0-2 against him? No. If Manal Kape beats Royval, do I think Manal Kape's going to beat Pantoja, even though I love Manal Kape, and I'd love for that to be the case? No. And there is rumours right now, because Royval is fighting Manal Kape, and everyone wanted Manal Kape versus Kai Kara-France, that maybe Kai Kara-France is getting that title shot against Pantoja, because, Kai Kara-France knocked out Steve Erceg within the first round when Pantoja, went the distance against him and arguably lost. And not only that, these guys met on the Ultimate Fighter many moons ago, almost a decade ago, I believe. So it makes sense. He hasn't really beat him since being in the UFC, so it makes sense, but I still think he beats Kai Kara-France, even though I think Kai Kara-France will make it a very hard and interesting fight for Pantoja. Who else is in the division? If Erceg could climb back up and maybe get a rematch, you got Tatsuro Taira if he can climb back up, but I just don't think any of those guys will be able to snatch that title off of Pantoja. I think Pantoja's going to keep that title around his waist for all of 2025. After this, we have the Bantamweight division with Merab Dvalishvili, and do I think he'll start the title at the end of 2025? No. I think Umar Nurmagomedov is going to have that title wrapped around his waist. I feel stylistically, he is a problem for Merab, and that's why I'm not going to say that Merab ducked, but he was very dismissive of giving a chance to Umar. And maybe that was because he didn't feel like Umar deserved it. I know that's been his whole thingy. But I feel like you'll just say, as a champion, yeah, I'll fight him. If that's who you want me to fight, I'll fight him, like most champions usually do. But Merab did seem to be very, very dismissive of Umar, so it makes me, puts a bit of thought in my head that maybe he's a bit wary that Umar has the skill set, and it's not going to be a walk in the park for him. I do think that's a hard fight to call, though. But yeah, I think Umar's got it. I just think he's so well-rounded. He's so young. It seems like he's got good people around him, very focused. I just think he is that guy, I'd love to say PTN. I really wanted to say PTN, but I think Umar's going to get it. The other possibilities, like I say, PTN, maybe. Sandhagen, I feel like always just flops it in the big fights. O'Malley maybe come back, possibly, but I'm going to say Umar. I think Umar's going to have that title for all of 2025, and I think I'm going even more bold of me. I think Umar's going to be a long-reigning champion in the 135 division if he doesn't choose to move on up like every fucker does after winning the title straight away. Next up, we have the Featherweight division, which is Ilia Topuria, and I think he's going to keep that title, but... Well, let's talk about Ilia first before we go into the big but. Well, I think Ilia Topuria is going to keep that title. I think everyone in that division he beats. He's just got a great style to take on a lot of styles. You have those fighters who just have a style that can take on a load of styles, and I feel like he has that. He has great grappling, great striking, great cardio. We don't know if his chin hasn't really been tested, but I'd imagine he's got a good chin. He took a nice dig off Jai Herbert, upper weight division. He's still young. He has so much. He oozes confidence. I think he'll beat everyone in that division. Everyone I see in that top 15 rankings, I don't really think gives too much of a problem to him. Off the top of my head, maybe Lopez or Movsar, but other than that, I don't really know. Now, I say the big but, and I say it till last, the big but. Diego Lopez, and that's only because, not because I think he beats Ilia, because, there's Ilya's kind of hinted it going up in weight, and I just want to see if it's to be vacated. You know, if it goes to like a vacate and he's got to be an interim champion or something because Ilya's too busy at 155, that seems where he's got his target set. I think it would be Diego Lopez, maybe Movsar, but I think Diego Lopez, he's got the hype train going right now, he's got a lot of momentum. So if Ilya vacates, something along those lines, whatever happens, or an interim championship, I'm going to say Diego Lopez. After this, we have the lightweight division, which is Islam Makhachev as the champion. Do I think he will have that champion by the end of 2025? Hot take. No, I don't. Ilia Topuria is coming for that guy, and he's going to wipe his chin off the fucking orbit. That doesn't make sense, but yeah. That's a hot take. I could have played it safe and say Islam Makhachev. Nah. Ilia Topuria is that guy, and I think Ilia Topuria beats Islam Makhachev. You may say I'm a madman, and I understand why you would think that. I just think Ilia is that fucking guy. I think he is. And I think if he goes up and fights Islam, I think that's such a hard style for Islam. I really do. I'm going to say Ilia Topuria, champion, lightweight division, 2025 by the end of it. I think he says he wants to fight Charles Oliveira like March, April time. And then after that, he's kind of got to fight Islam. I think Ilia is going to get that 155 strap. I really do. I really do. But let's say Islam goes up to 170 and we got another thingy of vacation. Well, yeah, it's Ilia Topuria. If it's not Ilia who hasn't moved up yet for whatever reason, Arman Sarukian. Let's say Ilia doesn't move up. Either Islam keeps it, but say if Islam moves up, fucking hell, this is getting a bit puzzly now. Arman has it by interim, some shit like that. Yeah, but I say Ilia gets it. Ambitious, I know, and what I do actually think will happen. But if he doesn't come up for whatever reason, Islam. But then if Islam moves up and he's not in the 155 division, he has to vacate or whatever the crack is, maybe have to do an interim, like I said, for the Featherweight division, Arman gets it. But yeah, I say Ilia. We then have the Welterweight division, which is Belal Muhammad. I think Belal's going to keep that championship. I know you got Shavkat, who's going to be fighting next. I was saying, even going into the Shavkat Ian Gary fight, that I think Belal beats Shavkat because with Shavkat, there's still question marks whether, you know, his defensive grappling is up to scratch, his cardio. I feel like cardio is a bit answered, but he weren't going at like a pace that Belal would go at. So, you know. But I still think Belal beats Shavkat. I really do. I'd like to be wrong, because I prefer Shavkat. I think he's more entertaining to watch. But, yeah, I think Belal's going to keep it. I think he's got the style to beat Shavkat. And then, it's fair, I actually think Usman could beat Belal. I really do. I think Usman's a harder fighter for Belal than most people at 170. The only thing for Usman, he just was like, I don't know, he's playing this thing where he's like hard to get when he's 0-3 in his last 3 fights. It's kind of weird to me. He's like, he's acting really entitled. And I'd understand that if he like was a number 1 contender after winning a long winning streak. And I know he's he's the second greatest welterweight of all time. But if you're 0-3, you need, like, you can't just stay number 3 in the rankings and not do anything. You need to defend or vacate, motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just stay there and not fight anyone. Like, I don't think he's meant to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena anymore, which is crazy. And then he walked up the arena when Joaquin Buckley had just beat Colby. So I don't know what the fucking crack is with Usman. But if Usman can somehow get a title shot, I actually probably do favour Usman. But I just don't think he's going to get to that point. I don't know what he's doing. But yeah, JDM I don't think would beat Shavkat. Brady I don't. Buckley I don't. No, I don't. Leon in a rematch, if Leon can get there, maybe. But if Islam moves up, that could make things very interesting. Very, very interesting. But for now, I'm going to go with Belal Muhammad. I think Islam will stay at lightweight for a bit longer. So I'm going to go with Belal Muhammad for the end of 2025. Now we move on up to the middleweight division, which is Dricus du Plessis, DDP. And I think that Khamzat Chimaev is going to have that title wrapped around him by the end of 2025. I don't want that to be the case, because I actually love Dricus du Plessis. I feel like I'm like many people. No one really liked him at first. He just looks ass. He fights like ass. but it's so fun to watch, and his personality is so fun. I think he's one of the funniest fighters on the roster, hands down. He's so funny, he's so entertaining. Yeah, I love the bloke, but I just think Khamzat gets it, man. I really do. You know, we've seen Dricus taken down by, I think, was it Brad Tavares, by Brunson, by Whittaker. So yeah, I think if they're able to take you down, MMA math, I know, but I think if they're able to take you down, Khamzat should be able to take you down. Not only that, he's got to fight against Strickland, which is whatever, really. Should be a fun one. I think he beats Strickland, but then I think he loses to Khamzat. And even if Strickland beats Dricus, I think Khamzat would walk through Strickland as well. I'm pretty sure Strickland trained with Khamzat a few years back, and he said, oh yeah, he was pretty much saying that fucking Khamzat's legit. Who else is in the Whittaker? I'd love it if Whittaker could get a career resurgence, but I just don't think he can now, I'll be honest with you. Imavov maybe, but I don't know. Caio Borralho, possibly. I'd be thinking more Borralho 2026. I feel like it's going to be a bit of a hurricane at middleweight division. You know, you got the three people at the top at the moment. But regardless, I think Khamzat's going to have that championship 2025. I never thought, I don't know, I just think he does. I just think the grappling's going to be too much for fucking everyone, really. I really do. So I think Khamzat end of 2025, he's got that championship. Now we have the light heavyweight division, which is Alex Pereira as champion. Who do I think will be the champion at the end of the year? Oh man, I really want Alex. I really want him to stay champion because he's so fun to watch. He's so cool. But I can't deny Ankalaev any longer. I just can't. I love Pereira. I hope he could get the job done on Ankalaev, but Ankalaev's just got that skill set, I feel like. The only thing for Ankalaev, his fight IQ, I feel like, is really fucking, you know what I mean? It's like really bottom barrel. It's really, you know what I mean? So, but I still think Ankalaev gets the title at the end of 2025, unfortunately. I don't want him to, but I really do. I mean, who else is... it's fair, I feel like the dark horse is Jan Blachowicz. I feel like everyone's not talking about him. He had a close fight with Ankalaev. He had a close fight with Alex Pereira. I feel like, you know, people are forgetting about Jan Blachowicz. People forget, man. You know, like... Jan Blachowicz maybe is an underrated shout, you know. I'm going Ankalaev. I'm going Ankalaev. I think Ankalaev's going to have it. Maybe Pereira moves up in weight, but I don't think Dana White likes the idea of that, because if that happens, well then Pereira more than likely loses at heavyweight if he fights Aspinall or Jones, and that star power kind of goes a fair bit if that is the case. So I can't see Pereira moving up. I think he'll stay at light heavyweight. The only chance he goes up to heavyweight is maybe to the back end of 2025, and I couldn't see him vacating because he'd be like, oh, I'll go heavyweight and I'll come back down light heavyweight, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think Ankalaev's going to get it. Don't want it to be the case, but unfortunately, I do think it will be the case. Underrated shout, Jan Blachowicz, don't sleep on the guy. And finally, we have the heavyweight division, which is the current champion, Jon Jones. Should be Tom Aspinall. The interim champion, Tom Aspinall. Who do I think is going to be the actual champion? And hopefully there won't be an interim champion anymore. I think it'll be Tom Aspinall. But will this fight get made? Man, I don't fucking know. We all want it. We've all been asking for it for God knows how long. Like, just give us the fucking fight, man. Give us the fight. I'm dying here, man. We need Tom Aspinall. Like, we need Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones. And I actually think people are sleeping on Jon Jones, and I really don't like Jon Jones. I've been a hater of his for a while now. But I do think people are sleeping on Jon Jones. I think Tom Aspinall gets it done, but it's not easy like people are making it out to be. It's either one or two things. Aspinall makes it light work and gets him out there super quick, or Jon Jones is able to ride out the first few rounds, and then we finally see Tom Aspinall slow down a bit, because that's a big question. And then maybe we see him slow down a bit. Jon Jones usually gets better over 5 rounds. He's done 5 rounds multiple fucking times. And then he takes it. Like, we haven't seen Tom Aspinall's defensive grappling, like, really used either. So I'll be interested to see how that would work, you know? So, yeah, I'm going to go with Tom Aspinall for champion by the end of 2025. But the main focus here, get that fight fucking made. We need that fight made. But I'm going with Tom Aspinall as champion by the end of 2025. Don't know if Jones is going to retire, if he's going to fight, whatever the fuck he's going to do. Try to go down to fucking light heavyweight, whatever he's going to do. but I know Tom Aspinall's going to be champion of the heavyweight division by the end of 2025. And yeah, those are the fighters I think will become champion by the end of 2025. I know a lot of you are probably going to be disagreeing with stuff, saying I'm crazy thinking that crazy. How many times does crazy things happen in the sport of MMA? Just think. Yes, they may, on paper right now, they may seem fucking crazy, but it could, after a win or two, a loss here and there, anything is possible, my friend, you know? Anything's possible. So those are my picks of who's going to be champion at the end of 2025. Let me know in the comments if you agree with any of mine and who you think will be champion by the end of 2025 for, you know, maybe a particular weight class or every single weight class. Let me know in the comments because I'm very interested to see how people view things and maybe give you reasons to why as well. Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching the video and I'll see you in the next one.